In terms of partnerships as well, we've obviously signed a number of partnerships over the last couple of months. Ones that we've already announced are MetaZone. So MetaZone are a really exciting project. They were originally working exclusively with Decentraland, obviously an established product, an established brand which had a user base, but they've chosen to add us to their ecosystem of partners, right?
That was quite exciting, by the way.
Yeah, really, really exciting for us. And what MetaZone allow people to do is, if they're not, so you mentioned earlier with the no-code builder tool, people can either build something themselves or they can come to us, but they can also import ready-made NFTs. And when we say NFTs, we're not talking about art, we're talking about products as well.
Or buildings.
Buildings, yeah. And people can now buy that on the MetaZone marketplace and deploy that into Vault Hill essentially from June time, right?
Yeah.
It's a really, really exciting coup for us, really exciting opportunity for us as well to have such a brilliant and established brand. We've also signed a couple of other partnerships as well. So do you want to talk about how the business model that we have is about making people's lives more impactful while they're in virtual reality, but we're also doing stuff around making people's lives impactful outside of virtual reality as well, giving back to the world. So we've signed an MOU or a contract with 2 brands over the last couple of days. So one is Stability.
Yeah,
we can talk about that. And also Blessed By as well.
Yeah, really absolutely. So it's quite interesting. I think I'll focus more on Stability because for us, Stability is a platform that tracks carbon usage and offsets carbon footprint as well. So if we look at, we keep talking about sustainability and, the impacts of the ecosystem around NFT minting, blockchain, Bitcoin mining, metaverse creation and all of that. And we need to start looking at it from an eco-friendly perspective. And, that's just the core and center of the partnerships with Stability. And what we're looking to do there is track the carbon usage of creating all of the assets, all of the framework, all of the servers, the technology, the usage in there, recording that on the blockchain as well, making that public and transparent as well, and then offsetting that as well, from a carbon footprint perspective. So we're looking to do our own share to make sure that we're being eco-friendly, we're being sustainable within this framework. And you talked about, the second with Blessed By, which is an Indian charity. And for us, again, giving back is at the core center of what, we're building when we talk about human centricity. So, it's important to recognize those attributes and make sure that, yes, we're building, we're spending the money, but it's very, very important we start to leverage how we give back to society to build this ecosystem as well.
Perfect. And then in May, we're going to be at the EU Startup Summit.
Hey, so, that's you. Well, Nick in Barcelona.
And we've been invited to join a panel discussion to talk about the metaverse. Now, when we were in Paris, we spoke about 2 things. So what is the metaverse?
Everyone keeps asking.
So we did some stuff about that. And then what are NFTs really, and how do you make a business, right? And these seem to be the burning questions for a lot of people. So we've been invited to represent Vault Hill in Barcelona. And that will be an opportunity for people to ask questions about essentially what is a virtual world, because we keep using the word metaverse, right? But the metaverse is an all-encompassing iteration of what the universe or the internet will become. Beg your pardon. And it's a component piece of hardware, utility, mindset change, virtual reality, virtual worlds, which is essentially what we are creating, right?
Correct.
Even though we're going to have a number of interchanges. So we are almost a subset of the metaverse. So we're a metaverse with a little m rather than a metaverse with a big M. So we're going to be trying to help people understand what that means and how they can start to own. Yeah. Which I really think is an important juxtaposition. It's not about being on the internet. It's about owning a part of the internet. And that's what we're enabling with Vault Hill, which is really, really exciting. So we're going to be talking about that. We're alongside some really, really cool and innovative brands. So Volkswagen are going to be on stage with me during that event. And there's some other really cool startups. I think Sandbox is going to be there. They're obviously doing loads and loads of press at the moment around their brilliant product as well. Yeah. What else is going on in May?
So a couple of things, right? So in addition to what you mentioned, we're going to start releasing cool footage of what you could do in Vault Hill. So we're already working with some of the brands that I said I wouldn't mention until, we start to put this out there. So, hey, surprise. So we'll drop a couple of videos around what you could do in the metaverse, how you could start monetizing your creation, which is very, very important, right? We're not just creating a space for fun. We want to add value to what we're doing, to people's lives and people's, brands as well. So we'll start dropping a whole lot of that, in May. We'll also look at, the proposition around how you can create your own stuff. We talked about the no code builder tool. So we're going to start doubling down and iterating on that. We're going to look to do a hackathon. The team is still deciding on what we do within the hackathon. Do we focus on architecture or do we focus on, extended reality? And, we're about to make a call on that pretty soon. But I think, one thing to call out and iterate is while we were trying to experiment in terms of the game engine to use, we considered Unity and Unreal. We built VR for meditation for our first client in Hong Kong, Today Fit. That was on Unreal, and they allowed us to use a part of that footage in Paris, which we got feedback from. And the second was a maze game we released built on Unity, where, it ties back to the Vitality District, where you pick up some fruits, you do some squats, you do some mountain climbing, and you do some breathing exercises. And for us, it was important to test the two experiences with two different game engines for us to actually understand what is the complexity, what is the ease of use, what are those challenges we'd find when we deploy this to the end users, and, making that choice to go with Unreal. But part of what we want to start doing is looking at diversity and inclusion within the space. So in May, we're going to open up the Maze game, right, to a couple of developers. We'll make a GitHub repo public, and we're going to look to solve a problem of diversity. So I talked about the 3 levels within the Maze game, and one is about squats. So how do we get someone that is in a wheelchair to do squats? How do we make that experience a level inclusive for them? So we're going to put it out as a challenge to a wide array of developers to see what they can do and make that, inclusive. So again, a lot of big technical stuff is going to be dropping in May for us.
So May feels like almost like a stabilization month. It seems like we're doing a lot of publicity by attending events. We're sharing our code with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And we're also going to be putting out quite a lot of information as well. So we're going to be producing content around how to get involved. We're looking at YouTube. We've actually got Murray with us today as well, so maybe you can talk about that just before we go. But we're looking at how we can help people navigate their way to onboarding into Vault Hill and setting that up, showing things around avatar creation. We've also got some articles that we're preparing as well. So some really exciting stuff around our DAO, which we're starting to shape up and build. Maybe we can spend a couple of moments talking about that. We've also defined a strategy for each of our basic human instincts, right? So we're also going to be releasing to Medium over May and June those articles for people to understand a little bit more around our business ethos. And you mentioned Dr. Oyen earlier. She's going to be working to release them through Medium and other socials as well.